welcome back. Before we get started and continue our trip in Fukuoka, we gotta grab a blue bottle first, right? And this is by far the prettiest blue bottle I have ever seen. This is situated in Tenjin in Fukuoka. If you're in Fukuoka, you must check this place out. Just stunning. So now we're on our way to a place called Dazaifu, which is in Fukuoka. It is honestly just a 40-minute train ride. I remember there was a transfer as well, but I'm going to show you the second train later on, and you have to take this train because it is just stunning. And all along this route is actually very scenic. There's lots of different trains, and hello, my friends. Quite an enjoyable trip, to be honest. And this is the train I want to talk to you about. So this train here is called the Tabito train, but what is so unique about this train is that every single car represents a different season. So that is super cute and super cool. So we're in this little town within Dazaifu. They have a lot of different trinkets, a lot of different food, especially ice cream, but I have to show you this one place that I absolutely love, and this is the place. This place here has the best roasted mochi. This is not like your every other mochi out there that you get at the grocery store. This is absolutely fresh, and inside I think it's filled with red bean, which they call anko there, and I love it. I think I ate 2 of those while I was there. So now I'm going to share a little bit about Dazaifu, which honestly is a hidden gem in Kyushu, Japan. It has over 1,300 years of history. It was once known as the Western capital, and it served as a military and political hub during Japan's ancient era. And honestly, it was also the gateway for trade, for defense, and it connects Japan to China and Korea. So today, this place is actually known for the Dazaifu Tenmagu Shrine, sorry if I am not pronouncing it right, who was a scholar and poet, and actually this person was exiled here over 1,000 years ago. And after his death, he was enshrined as Tenjin, the god of learning, and that's why you see there's so many students here praying for academic success. So if you're someone who is a student and looking to further your studies and get some good luck for your exam, this is a place that you don't want to miss out. You're already in Fukuoka, and then you should make a short trip down because you can get here by train. You don't even need a car, and it is like the perfect one-day trip. I would say everything here is super zen, and honestly you would really enjoy it. When the day we went was actually pouring rain, but nonetheless, because it was pouring rain, there weren't actually a lot of people, which made it a little bit more enjoyable perhaps. But obviously bring your umbrellas. If you have boots, wear them. But again, as you can see, we were just drenched, but thank God we had an umbrella for the day, and that honestly helped a lot. If you are in love with Kyoto's Fushimi Inari Shrine and all of the torii gates, then you do have to check this place out. I would have to say this place has way less people than the one in Kyoto, and obviously we're gonna go take a look at the torii gates here. But be careful, if it is raining, it is a little bit slippery because they do have cobblestone steps on the ground, so do be careful. And I have no idea what is going on in this frame. Anyways, and again, it is quite steep, so I would recommend wearing proper shoes when you are visiting this part of Dazaifu. And it is the next day, which is our car day. We are actually venturing out to Imari and Beppu. We are going to 2 places and 1 night stay, which I'm going to share with you, which is a Ryokan that we're staying at. There will be a room tour as well. But right now we're just on the way and passing by a few smaller towns that we've really enjoyed. And I really want to show you this cute little coffee shop that we stumbled across that you also don't want to miss. I do have to caveat that this place does not speak English, so you may have to do a lot of pointing and translating, but the people there are super nice. But on the way, we had to stop by here. This is the Couple Stone, absolutely stunning. We were there actually on just before the tour buses arrived. That's why there was nobody there. It was just the four of us, and it was absolutely great. So here is the cutest cafe that we stumbled across. And honestly, I would highly recommend checking this place out. Like I said before, they don't speak English, but the vibes are immaculate. And when you're here, make sure you do get their orange juice. It is so good. It is 100% fresh orange juice. It does not taste anything like you would get in America. And the sandwiches, as well as the taco rice, is actually really good and super healthy. One thing I do want to note is that the vegetables there are local to that area, so you actually won't be able to get the vegetables anywhere else in America. Alright, before we make it to the Ryokan, we made a quick stop at the village here in Imari. So if you're someone who likes porcelain, art, you like history, then this is the place to check out. It is about 40 minutes away from Beppu, so this is a great stop before you go to your onsen. So this little town here is actually been around since the 17th century and is best known for its bold cobalt blues, its vibrant reds, and also gold accents. The entire town is plated with porcelain and pottery as well. As you can see on this map here, they've got the entire map made out of porcelain. It is just the cutest, and the people there are also the sweetest. A little fun fact here about this town is that the pottery that you get here is actually still burned or cured. I'm not quite sure what the name is, but they're still baked at the kilns rested in this town. So come with me as we take a little look and we go shopping together. So all of the pieces here are curated and created by the artisans within the town. Like this cute little wind chime here, absolutely adorable, and they've got little like cell phone chimes as well. So there is some kind of like modern touch aside from just your drinkware and your tableware, and of course vases as well. And again, the entire town is plastered with these beautiful porcelain tiles, and they are hand painted as well. Lots of detail goes into this town, and it is honestly a sight of its own to be in this town. And again, I love the vibes here, super serene, and what is not to love about this view? I wish I could just be here every single day and not be looking at my computer. Maybe one day when I retire, I can be here. I mean, we gotta hit up Costco, right? We've seen all the sushi on Instagram, but this is not the same. This here is top quality. And now we have finally arrived at our Ryokan, which we will be staying for just one night because it is quite expensive here. So just a quick room tour of what it looks like. This is the entryway when you come in, and to our left is our bathroom here. The toilet is separated from the shower space and is also separated from the actual onsen, the bath itself. So come on in, we've got the bathroom here, full amenities of course, the sink, hair dryer, and everything else, because this is a Ryokan, so everything is included as well. And before we hop into the bath itself, there is a shower facility, of course. This is all within your room, keep in mind, so there's a lot of privacy here. And then this is the place, okay? This here is the onsen, the bath that comes with the room, and it is a private one as well, so you can enjoy it at any time you'd like. And this is the view from our balcony, super serene. We did go here in October, so at night it could get a little bit chilly, but honestly there's nothing to be mad at about this view. Oh, I also forgot to show you the other half of the room. So this is just the first half, the onsen part and the private tub. Then let's move in to the bedroom. They come with, oh my gosh, I want to say yukatas, correct me if I'm wrong. So there's the male and female version of it, ready for you when you are going downstairs to go dining or to walk around the facilities. You do have to wear those. And then we have the living room area. Honestly, it's just a basic TV. And then we've got the tatami room. I love it. It is so cute. We honestly did not do a whole lot in this room, but I think the idea of it is just so cute. And of course, if you do want to sleep on futons, you're more than welcome to. They've got them all set up already in here. I believe there's like a few sets, so I think this room would actually fit a family, and maybe a few more as well. So yeah.
This is our room tour we're just staying for one night because it is quite pricey. It does come with a set dinner as well, and yeah.
So come on outside and we're gonna actually explore the grounds a little bit more. Because it was in September, October-ish, it does get dark quite quickly, so they've got a few fire torches going around, which does give it a really nice vibe. So the space itself has, I believe, maybe 30 or 40 different rooms, and there is a shared dining hall to the left where you basically eat your set meal that you booked. Either you can get a teppanyaki or you can get a kaiseki as well, and the view here is just immaculate. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And this is a private property as well, so you don't really get people from outside entering this property, and it's just those who are staying here will have access to this facility. So not shown here, but we did actually go for a head spa. There's also facials there if you like. I think there's like body massages and things like that. I thought it is so relaxing, and I would highly recommend adding that to your package if you are visiting this place as well. In terms of the language, I would say that most people here don't really speak English, but I think you can still get by. The receptionists, of course, they do speak a little bit, but once you are like in the doing your facial and getting a head spa and all of that, they don't really exactly speak English, but I think it's enough to communicate with gestures and just knowing a little bit as well. So as we're traveling through this little village here, this little on-site area, you'll notice that some of these rooms are friggin' massive. Okay, the one that I was in is maybe like 500 square feet, and it's inside one single building. But here, oh my gosh, these are like private little homes that you can stay in. I have no idea how much these are because they are independent little homes within the property, while we just stayed at one of the rooms within the main building, and that alone already was I want to say like close to 700 a night or so Canadian for two people. So basically 2 adults, and you can stay there for about 700. I cannot imagine how much these other ones are, but maybe one day when we do win the lottery or figure out how to, hit that fire goal, then maybe we could stay in these places instead. But meanwhile, let's just have a look out here and admire all of the luxury amenities that it has to offer as well. So before we checked out, we had to check out, of course, the house of Beppu, which is right next door to us. It's actually this place you can get onsen eggs as well, which is kind of cool if you think about it. But honestly, it's just a boiled egg. It does not taste any different. But hey, you're there for the experience, so why not? So all of this is actually natural water that's coming from the ground and up. I believe there are 7 pools in this area, which you do have to pay admission for. Some of them are red, some of them are blue, but you do have to be careful if you're there. They do get super hot. That's why everything is fenced around it. Otherwise, I am sure someone or anything that is in there would get roasted for sure. But if you are in Kyushu and you're looking to travel, this is just a very small snapshot of everything that we've seen in Kyushu so far, and I know there's so much more to offer than just what I've shown here. But we'll see you next time in the next vlog.
Mm.